Okay, so think about this for a second. What if the language you speak didn't just shape what you think, but how you actually relate to the world? What if a language wasn't just for, describing reality, but for actively participating in it in completely different ways? Today, we're going to dive into a language designed to do exactly that. It's pretty mind-bending. This one sentence, this is pretty much the entire philosophy behind the Arreqqana language. It's not just about learning words and grammar. No, it's a curriculum for life that's built right into the language itself. The idea is that speaking, working, and understanding, they aren't just things you do, they are fundamentally different ways of being. So, what would a language built on that idea actually look like? Day to day. How would it even work? Well, it would have to be more than just a tool for communication. It would need to be a system, a kind of instruction manual for navigating reality itself. And that's where we get to the core concept of Arreqqana. It's a language of 3 distinct registers, or as they call them, voices. Now, this part is absolutely crucial. They are not levels. It's not like one is better or more formal than another. Instead, each one is seen as sacred for its specific situation. It's all about the right tool for the right job. So what are they? Here they are. The voice of the flame, which is their ceremonial register, the voice of the hand, that's for professional or civic life, and the voice of the mind, their academic register. Flame, hand, and mind. Even the names themselves give you a real sense of what they're for, right? Okay, so let's really break down what makes each of these voices so unique. And we're not just talking about picking different words. This is a fundamental shift in grammar and rhythm, and even in the speaker's whole intention. First up, the voice of the flame, and this is a wild concept. In this register, words do things. Seriously, they aren't just describing a feeling of unity, they are actually binding people together. The sound, the rhythm, the cadence, it all matters just as much as the literal meaning. Its language is a ritual, almost like a force of nature. Next, you've got the voice of the hand. This is the language of getting things done together. Its highest values are clarity, respect, and just efficiency. This is how you run a city, how you manage a project, or how you give emergency instructions. There is absolutely no room for ambiguity here. It's all about making society run smoothly. And finally, there's the voice of the mind. This is the language of analysis, of taking things apart to see how they work. Its only goal is to define, categorize, and preserve knowledge with total precision. Metaphors? Nope, they're avoided. Emotion? Minimized. It's not about experiencing something, it's about understanding it on a clinical level. And when you put them side by side like this, wow, the differences just pop. Look at the purpose. It shifts from invoking something to operating society to analyzing a concept. Or check out metaphor. It's absolutely essential in the ceremonial voice, but it's completely avoided in the academic one. The very structure of a sentence changes depending on which reality you're trying to engage with. Now, this is probably the best way to feel the difference. Let's take one idea. We are connected through shared responsibility. In the ceremonial voice, the phrasing is beautiful, poetic, resonant. In professional, it's direct, clear, this is what we need to do. And in academic, it becomes a literal definition. It's 3 sentences that are worlds apart, even though they're about the exact same thing. So you're probably wondering, how on earth does anyone learn to speak like this? To switch between these different modes so completely? Well, in Arreqqanical culture, it is definitely not left to chance. It's a formal, lifelong curriculum that starts almost from the day you're born. And the journey is incredibly structured. When they're just little kids from 4 to 6, they just listen. They learn to feel the difference in the sound. Then, from 7 to 9, they practice each voice on its own. The really critical skill of switching between them is taught from ages 10 to 13. And by the time they're teenagers, the focus shifts entirely to the ethics and the responsibility of using these powerful tools correctly. And get this, to graduate, their final project is to take a single concept, like responsibility, and present it in all 3 registers. They have to articulate it as a poetic invocation, then as a clear workplace policy, and finally as a precise philosophical definition. I mean, that's not just learning a language, that's true mastery of perspective. Okay, so that's the formal education. But what happens when these rules hit the real world? The messy, evolving world of pop culture, media, and even slang. Well, even something as fluid and chaotic as slang has this predictable, managed life cycle. It's almost like they know it's temporary, so it's allowed to burn really brightly and then just fade away. A term is sincere in year 1, it's used sarcastically by year 3, and by year 5, it's officially archived as a historical term. It's temporary by design. And the media has these strict rules baked right into the culture. News broadcasts, they have to use the clear, professional voice to build trust. No exceptions. Songs and poetry? That's where you'll find the evocative, ceremonial voice. And this is so important. An emergency alert is only ever in the professional register, to make sure everyone understands immediately and without question. The medium reinforces the purpose. So, if there's one big takeaway, it's this. In Arreqqana, every single time you speak, it's intentional. The speaker has to know not only what they're saying, but why they're saying it, and what effect they actually want their words to have on the world. This is just a perfect summary of how each voice functions. The ceremonial voice doesn't just express meaning, it creates it. The professional voice carries that meaning through society like a messenger, and the academic voice preserves it, protecting it for the future. Create, carry, and preserve. And all of this leads to the final principle taught to every speaker, and it's a big one. It's a profound ethical guideline for how to use language. Just because something sounds beautiful and poetic doesn't mean it's true. Just because a statement is clear and direct doesn't mean it's right or holds authority. And just because you can define something with incredible precision doesn't mean you have wisdom. Each voice is a tool, and you have to handle it with care. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about for ourselves. The rules of Arreqqana are all written down, but what are the invisible rules that guide how we speak? Think about it. The way you talk to your boss is totally different from the way you talk to your best friend or your parents. We all switch our voices. So, what are the unspoken rules you follow? And maybe the bigger question is, what kind of realities are you building with your own words every single day?